Welcome back. The government shutdown is showing no signs of letting up, and now more pain may be on the horizon for millions of Americans. The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, is set to run out of funding November 1st, putting more than 40 million people at risk of losing the food assistance benefits they rely on to feed their families. I want to bring in Democratic Senator Ruben Gallego from Arizona, a Marine veteran who served in Iraq. He also serves on multiple committees, including Homeland Security and Government Affairs. I want to get you there starting on SNAP. I mean, there has been some idea from a Republican senator to put forward a bill that would effectively make it that SNAP wouldn't lapse, which has never happened during a government shutdown before. Would you get on board with that bill?
I think so. Yesterday we actually proposed two bills that would take care of all government employees as well as contractors that are not being paid right now, and it would just straight up pay them during this shutdown while we do negotiations. So something like this is something I think that in a bipartisan manner with certain details we would probably get behind.
But what does it tell the American people that even a bill that seems as straightforward as the one that Ron Johnson put up yesterday, and that of course Van Hollen has a competing version of, that there is a competing version, that we can't even agree on how to nibble around the edges, let alone solve the central problem?
Well, look, if this is nibbling around the edges, absolutely would be it. But the one thing that Ron Johnson said is they'd give discretion to the president. We've seen this president be very vindictive. If he doesn't like what type of department you're doing, he would just arbitrarily fire you. We're not going to give the power to the president to basically pay the federal employees that he likes versus the federal employees that we all want, which is across the board everybody. Yeah. And number two, this goes back to the most important thing. We understand people are going to be in pain and hurt. And it is temporary. What's going to be really painful is for 24 million Americans to see their insurance rates double starting November 1st. And that is going to be permanent. So we need to have a solution to that that takes care of two things. Number one, funds the government in a bipartisan manner. And number two, deals with that. And we could also deal with that in a bipartisan manner with negotiations and reforms.
But when you and I spoke, I guess it was last week, I don't know, time is kind of a flat circle at this point. We were talking about how Leader Thune floated the idea that he could guarantee a vote, but not guarantee an outcome.
That's right.
You basically said to me, and pinky promise was my phrase, that you needed more than that.
Yeah, I can't do a show vote. A show vote doesn't deal with people's real problem that they're going to have. I mean, we're talking, for example, in Arizona, the average family of four is going to have their insurance rates double to almost $3,400 more. So it's almost $7,600 a year they're going to be paying, right? $760 a premium, essentially, a month. That's very hard to do. You just had, Chief Economic Advisor of Biden on, and he's talking about inflation. Inflation's now at 3%. That doesn't count how much inflation is about to go because of insurance. This can be done. This can be negotiated. We can put in some of the principles that I think Republicans want when it comes to reform and keep people out of having this very dangerous situation where they're going to either figure out either they're going to have to keep insurance or not, or they're going to have to cut their savings somewhere else because they're not going to be able to pay these higher premiums.
But what I'm hearing from you is it sounds like you want not just a vote, but a vote on something that will definitely pass. And I think that ultimately comes out in the deal making. Yes. Is any of that actually happening right now?
I mean, at this point, it's not. I think at this point, what we've seen is Republicans
even like quietly behind the scenes and the discussions that you don't like to talk about.
I mean, there's always senators. We're kind of like little gossipers, and we all talk to each other behind the scenes. We're always floating ideas back and forth, to be honest, right? And we have very good relationships with our Republican senator friends, and of course, we're trying to find something. But where we're looking at when it comes to true leadership coming from Thune and the lack of leadership coming from Donald Trump, we don't see anything. And then you have Mike Johnson, who has just absolutely disappeared, has put his Congress out of session now. So even if we had any type of solution, he wouldn't be able to call them back in time to get anything done before basically November 1st. So there's a whole lack of leadership that's coming from the Republican Party right now, where all we want is two things. Number one, keeping insurance premiums very low for as many Americans as possible. And number two, having a good deal when it comes to reopening the government, which, again, we agree has to be a compromise no matter what.
You mentioned Speaker Mike Johnson. Have you had any more conversations with him? I know there was that kind of colorful confrontation outside of his office about 2 weeks ago with you and Senator Kelly. That ultimately didn't yield the swearing in of your colleague, the Congresswoman-elect from Arizona's 7th Congressional District. But have you talked to him? Has Leader Jeffries talked to him? Because you were in the House for a long time, so you have those relationships.
No, and I don't need to talk to him. It's been very clear that Mike Johnson is trying to protect pedophiles that are on the Epstein list. That's all he cares about right now.
Because she would be the 218 signatures.
Exactly. She would be the 218 signature that would release the Epstein files. And that puts him in a very weird position. It's going to force a vote onto the floor where he's going to have maybe 50 to 100 Republican members of Congress voting to open these Epstein files. And it's going to expose a lot of very elite, powerful people that may or may not include the president or the president's friends, that he doesn't want to put himself in that position. So instead, he's going to basically give up on his responsibility as Speaker of the House, not swear in a duly elected member of Congress from Arizona who was voted overwhelmingly, about 27 days ago, to stop this from happening.
I just think the question that I often get when I am talked to about this story or am I talking to others about this is, so what can you actually do in this situation? Like, is there anything that can be done to compel the speaker to swear in a member? Is it the attorney general in Arizona's lawsuit? I mean,
well, I think it's going to have to be that until they get back into session. It's entirely possible that Speaker Johnson is going to keep the House of Representatives out of session till the end of the year, even if the Senate comes to a conclusion, even if we get to a negotiated CR and comes to ACA, because he cares more about protecting these pedophiles that are on the Epstein list than he does about the American public and his charge as Speaker of the House under the Constitution of the United States.
And of course, Johnson has said that it's not about the Epstein files and that it's about the House being in a pro forma session. I can't speak to the Epstein motivation.
But he has actually sworn people in during pro forma sessions, too. So we all know that's BS.
You got to my fact check before that I got to my fact check. You want?
You got
Senator,
it. No, you got
Senator Ruben Gallego, I'm going to thank you, but you can stay and just do the next segment. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.